conference today. He is the Karnataka Rajya Sabha member of parliament, member of parliament of Rajya Sabha from Karnataka. He is also the chairman of the All India Congress Research Department and the national spokesperson of the AICC. And right now he is also the convener of the manifesto committee for the AICC. Sir, I request you to kindly address the media. Thank you.
Thank you, M.V Rajeev Bhai. Good afternoon, Prashant Bhai. Media friends, we are gathered on a very solemn occasion, the 10th anniversary of the tragedy of 26/11 that struck Mumbai. It's a very, very somber and difficult moment when we think back to all the lives that were lost in that crucial and in that very, very, very tragic day. Good afternoon, Rajneesh Bhai. I want to talk to you today about two main features. One about human capital, another about financial capital. I want to talk to you about what has happened since 2014 in the state of Telangana. In 2014, there were two parallel simultaneous election campaigns that took place. In each of those campaigns, there was a gentleman who sold dreams to the people. At the national level, we had Prime Ministerial candidate of the BJP, Sri Narendra Modi, selling dreams of Achhe Din to the people of India. In Telangana, we had Sri K. Chandrasekhar Rao selling dreams to the people of Telangana about what is possible after the new state comes, after a new government is elected in the new state. Kuchandi. Let me tell you why these dream merchants have failed us tremendously. Today is not the day to talk about Modi ji and his failures. We have written lots of books on this. The IICC Research Department has produced multiple documents. But today we will be releasing a document called the Issues Document, which is prepared by our Telangana Research Department, headed by our secretary here, Sri Amir Javed. And the emphasis of this issues document, like everything that the research department does, is on facts and figures. With facts and figures, we will prove to you that the KCR government has let down the people of Telangana and has been an absolute disaster for the people of this state. The people of this state is what I'm concerned about. And when I say people, I'm talking about human capital. And human capital involves investment of a very different kind. You want to ensure that the wealth of the state grows, then you have to invest in the people of this state, in the children of this state, in the women of this state, in the men, in the older people of this state. You have to ensure that they get the capability to use their potential to the maximum. Instead, let me take you through the sorry saga of K. Chandrasekhar Rao's government in Telangana and how he has done nothing. In fact, he has reversed whatever was being done before bifurcation for the children of this state, for the women of this state. First, let us think about what every one of us wants: jobs. What is the situation with regard to jobs in this state? In 2017, the last date till which we have figures, the age group 15 to 29 years, if you take the educated population, you have the third worst unemployment rate in the country in Telangana. And this is a state that has Hyderabad, one of the most flourishing cities of this country, as one of its economic engines. In spite of that, this is the unemployment rate, the third worst for graduates in this country. There was another way in which the TRS government could have ensured more new jobs for people. There were 2.5 lakh government vacancies. How many of these government vacancies has KCR government filled? It turns out that they have filled only 25,000 posts. 10%. It is in their power, it is in their hands to provide these jobs, to run the government more efficiently, to ensure that people of Telangana, one of the promises of the Telangana movement was jobs for the locals. And instead, 90% of the available government jobs have not been filled by KCR's government. What were the other promises that he sold you? He sold you a promise saying free education from KG till PG, from kindergarten till post-graduation. Has that become a reality? Where is the budget that would show me that any amount of work has been done in this context? I do not see anything. And what instead has been done by the TRS government is to reduce the education budget by 478 crore. Okay. What is the state of the schools when they do exist? It turns out that 16,000 public schools do not have water supply. What is the state of education for children if these are the conditions in which they have to come? 1,415 schools do not have electricity, and 1,349 primary schools also lack teachers. That is the kind of investment in education, in the human capital of this state by the TRS government. This is also, you have one very unique qualification. Telangana has the lowest literacy rate in the country after Bihar. This is not something to be proud of. Before the formation of Telangana, the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, this was a program that the UPA government had strengthened during its term. It used to utilize, the government used to utilize 6,000 plus crores out of the allocated education budget of nearly 7.8 thousand crores. But post-bifurcation, the budget of 5,360 crores, only 50%, about 2,600 crores, has been allocated to Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. How are you going to get the Sarva Shiksha of everybody in this state if the money that is allocated is not used for that purpose and it is diverted to something else? The 50% of the total budget for education schemes has not been released. So think about it. Human capital is the force, is the wealth of a state. Education is in shambles under KCR. What about another feature? Healthcare. If you look at it, there in the Congress era, we had the Arogyashri program. And that used to ensure that health costs and out-of-pocket costs were minimized, and that there was a whole network of private sector also which would provide services to people when they were in urgent need of health care. Instead, while in 2016-17, 1,142 crores was allocated to Arogyashri, only 824 crores has been spent. The Comptroller and Auditor General of India has issued a report saying that healthcare spending in Telangana is inadequate, but no change happens from this highly efficient government of KCR. It does not care about the health of the people of Telangana. Look at the average healthcare expenditures across states in India. The average is 4.7% of the budget goes for healthcare. In Telangana, it is 4.1% and has now in 2014-15, now it has fallen to 3.9% in 2015-16 on a downward track. Why? We all know that when we talk about bringing people out of poverty, it is a very precarious existence. One serious illness and the kind of out-of-pocket expenditures on healthcare that people go through, families fall right back into poverty. It is a duty of any government that cares for its people to ensure that public healthcare service delivery is solid and it prevents people from suffering. Instead, what you have is a decline in the trajectory of healthcare expenditures by the Telangana Rashtra Samiti government. Now, further, you look at one of the schemes that we had brought in place under the National Rural Health Mission was something called the Free Essential Drugs Initiative. This when there was, out of the 84 crores that has been allocated to this, to provide free essential drugs to the poorest of the poor, 84 crores was allocated in 2014 to 17, only 10 crores has been paid by the TRS government. Amount spent on maternal health, on the women who are about to give birth, it has declined, and it's only 31 to 50% of the actual budget is actually spent. Child health care spending does not exceed 26%. So one set of numbers in the budget, another set of numbers in terms of actual expenditures. So the talk is one thing, the outcome is something totally different. So this is the usual problem with Modi ji, same problem with KCR. Okay, now there's another problem. One of the biggest movements to ensure that maternal health is improved, maternal mortality decreases, is that we make sure that you have people giving birth in official hospitals, in government hospitals. However, what has happened today is that institutional deliveries in government hospitals have declined from 69%, that is when before bifurcation, to 42% now. And where are all these people going? They're going to the private hospitals. Private hospitals charge more. They may induce, they may use other procedures. They may have more C-sections, things like that, which will provide a much bigger hit onto these new families compared to what would have happened in the government sector. And what about the doctors who man the government sector? You're aware that it's a very expensive proposition to get a post-graduation seat. What has been the price of a management quota seat today in government and other postgraduate institutions? It has gone up by 5 times. It has gone up to more than 25 lakhs. Meritorious students are fleeing Telangana. You are suffering a brain drain of your doctors because they have to go elsewhere because the prices have become exorbitant in medical colleges. And talking about medical colleges and hospitals and super specialty hospitals, what happened to KCR's promise that he will create super specialty hospitals in every district, 100-bedroom hospitals in every assembly constituency? I challenge you to go out there and show me one. This is one more example of an empty promise in a crucial sector which affects the health and well-being of every citizen of Telangana. Let me also talk about another unique program that we used to pay tremendous emphasis to. The effort to ensure that the girl child is welcomed, loved, and respected in an equal manner. For that, we had come up with a program called Bangaru Talli. And this program ensured that a girl child had a bank account opened in her name and that would provide funds at the age of when she went to college for her education, etc. Education is key to women's empowerment, and you all know that. But what does KCR and what are his priorities? His priorities are marriage and nothing else. Women are not only for marriage, my friend. It is also for equal participation in the workforce, equal participation as partners in marriage. And for that, you need women's empowerment. For that, you need women's education. But the Bangaru Talli program, which would have provided funds for women's education, for the education of the girl child, is being slowly withering away, while instead he is offering the Kalyana Lakshmi program as an alternative. It is not an alternative, it is a supplement. It is wonderful to help families bear the costs of marriages. That is a wonderful scheme, but it is not a substitute for education of women, and therefore do not let the Bangaru Talli scheme decline and disappear in terms of all the impacts that it can have on the women of Telangana. Let me now turn to a very different domain, financial capital. We spoke so far about human capital. Let me now turn to financial capital. How is this revenue surplus rich state doing today? What has been the state of finances under the KCR government. We have been investigating and coming up with all kinds of shocking findings. I will just highlight a few here. More information will come out, and more press conferences will highlight the financial mismanagement under the KCR government. It turns out that there are so many labor-intensive sectors of the economy. When it comes to that, the gross value addition of that, Telangana is amongst the worst three performing states in the 2013-16 period. If you look at inflation, it is much higher here in Telangana at 7.5% in the 13 to 17 period, and much higher than our neighboring states like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and the all India average of 6.8%. Inflation hurts the poor the most. They are the ones who bear the burden of higher costs. And if you have the highest inflation rates in this region, then as a result of your financial mismanagement, then that is a clear burden on the poorer people of Telangana that you are imposing because of your incompetence in financial management. Now, when you look at the actual budget numbers, it turns out that the Comptroller and Auditor General CAG report shows that the TRS government in 2016-17 overstated its revenue surplus by 489%. If the revenue surplus was actually 1386 crores, they said it was 6,778 crores, making everyone believe that things were very, very rosy on the financial front. Hardly. The numbers show the exact opposite. A CAG report is pointing out that there is fudging of the accounts. Then, amount of revenue earned to pay debts has increased by 4.5%, 4.5 times, from 7.12% to 32% in 2016-17. When you look at the CAG report, it tells you that financial rules, financial procedures and controls have all been blatantly flouted. Mr. Modi ji out there in Delhi flouts the defense procurement rules and works out deals on Rafale for his crony Anil Ambani. And here you have another chief minister who is flouting all the rules and procedures that have been put into place to ensure that governments manage their resources carefully. Today is also Constitution Day. Today is a day when you have to respect the institutions, the checks and balances that we put in. Today is a day when we have to remember that it is not for governments to cheat and to lie and to fudge the figures. Fiscal deficit was supposed to be 5.46 of the gross state domestic product, but after what's spent on the Uday scheme, it's 4.3% of GSDP. We have a law called the Financial Responsibility and Budget Management Act that says that the fiscal deficit should not go beyond 3.5% of gross state domestic product. Where is 4.3? Where is 3.5? This is not a small amount. Those extra monies that are borrowed for this are paid back by you and me and by our children. So if a government cannot honor its promises, meet the conditions of the FRBM Act, then it basically is cheating us and cheating the people of the future as well. It shows revenue receipts, borrowings as revenue receipts. So again, the picture looks very rosy, but it's done this again, 2016-17. It showed 2,500 crores as revenue receipts when it was actually borrowings. In 2015-16, 3,719 crores. So when this sort of borrowings are going on under the guise of some other heading, which is not true, basically the capital, the finance capital that this government has in its hands to do work for the people of Telangana is very questionable. The impact on the people of this state will be drastic and dramatic in the years to come. So these are just some of the highlights, how this government has had no respect and no concern for human capital and has been fudging and trying to paint a rosy picture on its mismanagement of finance capital. These are just two of the topics that we are going to share with you with much more data and details in a document that we are going to release today called the Issues Document. We will be providing this to you in terms of physical copies right now, but I now request Amer Javed Prashant Singh and Rajneesh Gaur to join me to release this um, this issues document on on KCR government's performance in Telangana. Let me just take you through. Yeah, one sec. Let's just do a photo. On the back of this document, in shorthand, we have a report card. I was introduced as Professor Rajeev Gowda. I'm used to giving pass marks or fail marks. Unfortunately, in this state, this government only gets fail marks across various topics. Now, you'll see the details, but here are the contents of this document, okay? About jobs, about the education department, literacy rates, healthcare, crime, murders in daylight, the price rise and skyrocketing fuel prices, how agriculture is being destroyed, the plight of women, what happened to the two-bedroom houses, what has happened to poverty and how has it worsened, what is happening to labor and Manrega, what is happening to the acres of land that was promised to Dalits, what is happening on the economic front, what is happening to self-help groups, the money that the 14th Finance Commission allocated to Telangana Gram Panchayats, what happened to the minorities and the reservation that was promised to them, what happened to the youth affairs, what's happening in the power sector, irrigation sector. These are all issues that we are going to demonstrate to you with facts and figures. You know, this is just a snapshot, one page. You will see that everything we do, like a good professor, our team also makes sure that we have references at the bottom. It is not just statements out of rhetoric. These are well researched. These are facts and figures. The websites where we have taken this can be accessed by you, and then you can confirm for yourself. But please convey to the people of Telangana that the TRS government under K. Chandrasekhar Rao has been a disaster for the state. This was not the promise of the future of Telangana that we were all eagerly looking for. When the Congress and the UPA helped create Telangana, we had a much more different vision, and that is the vision that we will usher in when you elect the Congress government in Telangana, and we will fulfill our promises to the people in a way that will make a huge difference in every sector for every man, woman, and child of Telangana. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions. See, I just told you that there are facts and figures, there are literacy rates, there are data on schools, there are audit reports on how much money has been spent on these particular programs, there is a budget, and then there are records of how much has been allocated to each of these areas, right? All of these, as I told you, are verifiable. KTR and KCR say all sorts of things, but the facts say only the truth. And what we have here for you is the truth. So don't worry about all the lies that they spin. Similarly, Mr. Modi also will constantly spin lies. If you fall for them, you are the bakra. Check the facts, and essentially you will realize that the truth of the matter is that education under KCR's government has worsened, and money has not been allocated, money allocated has not been spent. Various programs for girl children have been closed. What is the point of this? Those are the facts, and those facts bring a lot of pain to me as an educationist, because that is what, they're telling one thing, they're doing something else. The human capital, the wealth of this country is being sacrificed because of people and their falsehoods. Thank you very much. This, you'll get copies of this, and please feel free to check on every link, on every story, and you will see what is the truth. Yeah, this is how the research department works. The All India Congress Committee's research department and our state departments like the Telangana Pradesh Research Department and Amit Javed, we are a department that was created by Sri Rahul Gandhi, our president, about a year and a few months ago. We are one of what are called the 21st century arms of the Congress party. And our job is threefold. One, we support our parliamentary activities. So anything that happens in parliament and in the future in state legislatures, we will ensure that our elected representatives are fully briefed with facts and figures. Second, we hold governments accountable. So we are constantly monitoring Modi Sarkar. We are even now, every speech of his, we are verifying and sending out notes on the truths and falsehoods of what he says. And then we assess the performance of the government and come out with numerous documents. So, a year ago, we had come out with a report called The Real State of the Economy, and I have sources from the government who told me that the government was shaken by the report which showed how badly they were actually performing, what they had done to India's economy. You know that demonetization and GST are just the tip of the iceberg. This government, Prime Minister Modi, Finance Minister Jaitley, you have never had a more incompetent duo managing the finances of India. Next, the third thing we do is ideation for the future. We are coming up with good projects and programs that can become part of our manifesto, can become part of the party's agenda going forward. For that purpose, we have a manifesto committee at the Congress national level, at the AICC level. Mr. Chidambaram is the chairman, I am the convener. We are conducting consultations across the country, and we are reaching out to different groups of people and asking them for their inputs. The aim is to make the manifesto a people's manifesto. Our president told us, yes, 20 of us sitting in a room can prepare a manifesto. We have the brains, we have the experience, but it will not reflect the concerns and the aspirations of the people of India unless we go out and talk to them. And so we have been doing that. Across the length and breadth of this country, we have done more than 50 or 60. We will do another 100 by the time this calendar year is done. And then we will take all these inputs. The research department will create position papers on every topic. And from that, our leadership will pick out the highlights which will form the basis for governance when we come back to office in May 2019. Thank you very much.